We believe that in order to solve any of the problems that we've talked about this week, we really need to transform education because we will have a complex future and we need the citizenry and the workforce to do that. The problem is that we in an academic institutions are organized in silos and our grand challenges cannot be addressed in a siloed fashion. So our workforce for tomorrow really needs to be nimble and they need to leave their educational experience at whatever level ready to work in that environment. So today's education system does not do that well in most cases. There are some great examples, but in most cases that doesn't happen. Next. So we really need to create critical and strategic thinkers who can envision the future and create solutions that are developed with that collaboration and interdisciplinary team. Next. The problem, though, is that, oops, next. There we go. It's just slow. So this is a vision of what could be, just an illustrative example. We've got students and faculty from a variety of different disciplines. They're mixing and intermingling their expertise and their knowledge. They've got a little bit of knowledge in those different areas so that they can really work interdisciplinary, not just in a multidisciplinary fashion. And so, for example, our undergraduates or graduate students or even two-year community college could, for example, create a vulnerability plan for their campus or community, real world problem that solves societal problems. Next. So the overall impacts of this project are to really prepare that workforce, challenge our academic structures that they change, and really think about creating at least our graduates who are also good citizens for the future.
So how do we get there? Here's the roadmap that we envision, and we believe that the structure could follow something like an NSF advanced program, where we start with pilot programs that then get assessed to make sure that what they're doing does actually work. And then we can replicate the successful elements of the pilots. So the parts of the pilot would consist of gathering input from industry and students to assess the demand and the need, and then adapt curriculum and course changes, which really span the gamut. They start with incorporating grand challenge themes as a common thread in general education courses. They adapt content and the pedagogy in existing disciplinary specific courses to be more responsive to today's needs, and in particular, to be more geared towards training people to think rather than to just replicate. And we believe that a multidisciplinary capstone project, individual research experience, or an internship involving one of those complex problems from the real world would be really beneficial as part of this program. Part of this, of course, is also that we need to train faculty to develop thinkers. We can start with the existing literature, and then we continue to adapt those training programs to disseminate new and successful approaches. The other side of this is that we really need to restructure our universities to commit to an academic structure that encourages and rewards cross-departmental collaboration and reduces the department level bean counting. And it probably also requires rewriting tenure expectations to value applied projects and community service so that we can really make progress on some of these grand societal challenges. During the assessment stage, we need to work with education researchers and evaluate changes by addressing perspectives from students, faculty, institutions, and employer satisfaction. And then we get to replicate. All right, so there are, of course, some challenges, but we have some ideas for possible solutions. The big one is, will there be buy-in from the universities and from the faculty? And we hope that by starting with a proof of concept with those pilot programs, by being responsive to industry needs and therefore to the job market that the students respond to, and by providing funding, we can get sufficient buy-in from universities to then establish that this is a good program to pursue and lay the groundwork for greater dissemination. And sure, not all faculty may buy into this, but hopefully there will be sufficient incentives to make this work. Does this make sense financially? Well, we believe that this makes our students more marketable for jobs. It creates a more cohesive educational experience, and there will be an enhanced opportunity to be competitive for grants. Does this dilute education? No, it does not need to dilute education because we can incorporate the transdisciplinary themes into the existing rigorous curriculum. So for example, we can use pertinent examples in a mathematics class, like in calculus class, without needing to cut any of the calculus content. Can we address equity concerns? Entry barriers should be addressed during the pilot programs. Exactly how? We don't know yet. How does this contribute to research? Better thinkers will make better researchers. And so part of the idea was here that everybody is involved in a research project as their capstone project. So that would also contribute to the research. And of course, there's also research and STEM education. To reach the wider community, how can we impact the wider community beyond college student? There will be some trickle-down education where we educate teachers who will then educate the K-12 population. These concepts can also be incorporated in continuing ed and at community colleges. And of course, we encourage collaboration between regional institutions. And that brings us to the question, why now and why NSF? Well, why now? Because we are facing these grand societal challenges that we cannot solve without being able to address complex problems from a transdisciplinary perspective. Why NSF? Because NSF is in a unique position at the interface of scientific advancement and education with expertise across disciplines and focused on far-reaching efforts that advance society. So it is very much in the wheelhouse of NSF to support an idea like this. Thank you very much.